Free your mind now. Be part of the People's Pan-African Parliament. The Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
The Pan-African Pyramid Roundtable. My name is Andrew Irumba Katusabe, your speaker. I am with my usual suspects, Comrade Daniel Garama Karuchiko, Chairman of the Pan-African Movement, the Uganda chapter.
Salutations to you, comrades, from wherever you are watching us from. It's always a pleasure coming to NBS and especially the Pan-African debates. We are very gratified to have you, Comrade Rumba, and my brother, Ambassador Merton Kambra. We don't take our viewers who always give us feedback for granted because they put aside time to be with us. And I'm looking forward to really because it has been a full house. We have had the World Cup, we have which is still ongoing. Actually, it is in its primary stages. We have got so much politics going on globally, and in the realm of Pan-Africanism, I can safely say that we have got a litany of activities ranging from the Zimbabwean parliament doing what they are trying to do, then the next neighbor, South Africa, with their mistaken xenophobia, which is Afrophobia, and whatever other names that they have given them, and so much other happening elsewhere. I'm looking forward really to this debate, comrade.
Thank you so much, Comrade Daniel Garama. On my right there is my long-time friend, my fellow combatant, Comrade Ambassador Milton Kambula. Kambula is the Executive Director of Global Peace Uganda chapter. But he has also recently, 2 weeks ago, been appointed the President of the Leaders Without Borders. Yes, he is the representative for the Uganda chapter. I hope I'm right there.
Yes.
He's a survivor. Kambula is a survivor. Milton was the first cohort that went to Baghdad, Iraq.
Yes.
When the doors were open.
I came with the Recon Military Award. That is one of the most prestigious.
You talked about it last week. Yes. Recon OTF V. What does it? 2007, 2008?
Yes.
This is the year when you served.
When they handed over you first perform, you first work.
This comes after your performance.
Yes.
They don't just give you. You must prove. So
first evaluate.
So this is a very
yes. Very honorable award. It's a very honorable military award. In the history of America, it is only given.
What is it called?
This is the Recon Military Leadership Award. And behind it now is the map of the operations that I was involved in, the map and where we worked from. And this does not come easily, Mr. Irumba. The Pentagon has to approve, and a profile has to be defended by commanders and base commanders and generals. So this comes with excellency in military leadership, but also the fight against global terrorism. That means I surrendered my life towards making sure the world stabilizes. But during this operation, I really learned also that guns will not bring sustainable peace. So it's an award, yes, but I actually felt it's not necessary for the United States and the NATO forces to encourage nations to handle and solve conflicts through the weapons.
Through the gun?
Yes, please.
Gunpowder?
It's not good. No.
And you've learned this through experience?
Yes, please.
You're in the battlefield?
Yes, I have.
You have survived from the battlefield?
Yes.
Now you're here to tell us, we civilians, that there is no peace going to be guaranteed.
Yes.
The use of guns.
Yes.
I want that statement to come out from you very, very more, had more?
Throughout my military operations and deployment, I learned that killing people, that you are fighting a regime or USA is coming to a certain country and maybe France, we are going, it is all about escalating the conflict. So we hunted for Saddam Hussein. He was killed. But the problems were not solved, just like in Libya. So as much as we have these awards having tested that strategy of forceful impoundment of a regime or wanting to solve a problem using missiles, using M4 rifles and AK-47s and even the B2. We have now the B2 right now. It is excellent. It's better than the F-36. These ones are now outgraded. So all those weapons, even nuclear bomb, it doesn't solve anything. So I must tell the country Uganda that those people whose hands are on the trigger and they are trigger hungry, thinking that if they kill more people, people will be peaceful. It's not. It has no record. It has no evidence. And even in Somalia, more deployment, yes, it could bring some kind of, but it's temporary. So negotiation, peaceful negotiation, and exactly is the way to go.
Because Trump went and bombed Iran.
Yes, it did not solve problem.
In so doing, he was thinking Iran is going to bow to him. What has emerged finally? Actually, he has made them like hard irons.
They are now permanently hardened. The other time, maybe they would say, let us talk to our brothers. Now, the more you use the weapons, now they have to defend themselves and they get global sympathy. At the end of the day, even the superpower like the United States currently is now answering questions it was not meant to answer. So even NATO is hiding behind us. We are not part of that war. Everybody now, it is Trump embarrassing the United States. So these are things that we are talking as diplomats. It is risky. It risks my position. But I want my country, Uganda, to learn. Because we don't even make weapons here. Everything is imported. So we have seen that presidents buy these aircrafts, very deadly aircraft. But the American, yes, from Russia. And but the man who has the remote, if you are not in good books with him, he say, this type, it will not fly. So he's the one determining who should win the battlefield. So we can't go into that kind of, we don't control wars in the world now. So why should we invest more money in these technologies? Yet our people lack roads and hospitals and education and health care and railway. We should put more of our budget there, not preparing for serious, as if we are preparing to fight America, for preparing to fight China. No, that's not our work as Africa. Our work is now to build our own technologies that can basically transform our education and even the healthcare and other public services.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ambassador Milton Kambula. You know, I always insist on adding that word, Peace Ambassador Milton Kambula.
Yes.
Because Ambassador Milton, when you're moving on the streets of Kampala, people will never understand the scars you have inside your heart and outside. Yes. The physical scars. Because you're putting on suits, you're moving majestically, you're talking, they will never understand. So for them, even the others who are, but who is that man? They don't understand. You know, in Uganda, it's very easy to speak.
No. You know, to make them not to make sure that they keep quiet, you show them something like this, because this was yes, this was given to me by the U.S. President Barack Obama. Commander-in-Chief. Yes, when he was launching his program on young leadership, and we came up with the International Young Leaders Assembly, and it has been really humbling that at my age I've been able to share the opportunities of my country, of Africa, the opportunities of my country, and serving at global scene to actually negotiate with the United States and other countries of how and what Africa needs. We don't need wars from America. So engaging them helped me to win their trust Not only that, but the president removing his kind of tool and he put it on your suit. That is extraordinary. Mr. Irumba, I want to say thank you, and that's why the Pan-African Pyramid is a source of power. This is the source of power where every young person should be a member. Young people, be members, come and be members of the Pan-African Pyramid, because from there, even presidents all over the world will start understanding the value of the African young people. But you don't know yourselves, you don't know the potential you have. Even if you met the president of America, you will start talking your nonsense of maybe about your tribe only. But recently, when I met the president of US, President Biden, in 2024 in April, I was able to inspire Americans on how the African civilization can reboot and reshape how diplomacy and foreign relations operate in the world for peace and prosperity. Because Africa's interests have been win-win, brotherhood, mutual interest, forgiveness, dialogue. So we had to manufacture, for example, the spears. A spear goes to one enemy, to an enemy. But no, a bomb, when you throw it on Kampala city, everybody dies. So there is no isolation. So we told them, no, Africa's civilization was to develop defense that must identify who a criminal is and an enemy or to the country and an innocent person. So amongst these technologies that they are building, it does not isolate the innocent. It kills everybody. Now the GMOs, every Ugandan right now is a victim of cancer because of GMOs. Where is the African president? This is not part of Africa's trajectory. Our wisdom and our civilization is much higher and rich of very critical outputs on leadership. Before you implement something, does it help this somebody to uplift his standard of living, his freedom and his health? But that we must work through the Pan-African pyramid to share with the policymakers that, hey, time is now. We cannot tolerate these things of exporting things we don't understand, to kill us, to terminate us, to actually prevent us from even pregnanting our wives, to even when they deliver some few children, the children are weak, the brains are not there. They can't think for Africa.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ambassador Tony Kambula. Comrade Daniel Garama Karuchiko, let's talk about the Iran-South Africa war. Let's begin from there. Last week we left this platform after America had promised that what they were signing was a peaceful transition from war to peaceful coexistence between Iran, Israel, and America, and the world at large. Have we achieved this from this MOU that was signed the other day?
Thank you so much once again, Comrade Irumba. Maybe just 1 minute before I move into that. I have been listening to my young brother, Ambassador Milton Kambura.
You stop changing people's names. It's Kambula, Elo, not Ara.
Kambura.
Kambula, Elo. You say Kambula.
What
want to shift everybody to Kambula.
What does the name mean in the African realm?
Kambula, not Kambura.
It means rain.
Hey.
Rain in Rutoro is Enjura.
Hey.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Kambura. Okay, Kambura. Kambura, Elo, not Ara. Oh, so that would be what now? Kambula. Kambula. Kambula, have I got it? Yeah. Kambula. Okay. Now you have saved me now. Kambula. Let's go with what Milton has said. It is I join issues. I adopt that. Yes. So
He doesn't have elo in their vocabulary. They have ara. So where there is elo, they conveniently put ara. Kambula, kambura.
yes, but anyhow, that was a good break. But what I wanted to say is that I listened attentively, and it makes my heart bleed, because this is not the very first time that we have seen the so-called powers get innocent people involved in wars they know nothing about. Because whereas, of course, I appreciate Milton's victories on the battlefield, this battle was for what? And for who? You see, at the end of the day, it also makes, supposing we had even lost him, you would have, for what? Which we would have lost him to what cause? You know, when we are looking at our heroes, if, for instance, Milton had died in those Baghdad and that kind of stuff, we would write him in our Pan-African history books as having died for who? For what cause? So at the end of the day, it's actually those even awards, Victorious awards and what have you. I wouldn't even, if we established a Pan-African museum, I wouldn't even put them there. They are worthless. You see? So therefore, unfortunately, sadly, so at the end of the day, yes. So at the end of the day, you can see that, and it's not the first, it's more recent, only that we are in these modern times. I told you our great-grandfathers who fought in the Second World War were also fighting for no good reason. They tell us about the European tribal wars. They were talking about yes, tribal wars. Although for them they claim they don't have tribes, but they are purely very tribal. Now, I hope I have rested that. What is your question? What your question seeks to achieve is that, look, America came out and said they are signing a memorandum of understanding between themselves and Iran. But Israel, which was so much part and is still so much part of this sad engagement, was not part, and they have kept on bombarding Lebanon. Actually, not only bombarding, but they also have taken bits and chunks of pieces of land which neighbor them. And the argument, maybe I should also inform the public that they have raised down cities just like they did in Gaza Strip. There are a number of towns and cities numbering more than 4, which they have raised down, and they have decimated populations there. So they have, Netanyahu and group have continued to perpetuate heinous crimes of run down the humanity. They have nothing, and you know that he's indicted already, along with his former minister of war. So therefore, when Trump, it must be also recognized that he's a typical businessman. Don't be surprised, by the way, if, for instance, in signing this memorandum with Iran, Trump is looking at fronting his companies where he has got interests, either his close associates or his blood relations who have got they win contracts in rebuilding Iran. Trump has got no permanent friends, and no, as long as you talk the language of money, he can go to war, destroy whoever he wants to destroy, and afterwards he will sit down with you in a boardroom and say, now, how much will this take and who wins the contract? So that by the time he finishes his 4 years, because remember he's contemplating coming back. Yes, he's contemplating. Yes, there was the way they want to play around with the law. So after all, the things he has done, can we talk about Trump and American society respecting the law? Which law? They have first of all dismantled the United Nations. And somebody who dismantles the law at an international plane, you expect him to respect the law domestically. So I wouldn't even be surprised if he comes back for another 4 years or even 8 years.
Do you know that Trump's actions have actually made the UN look like fools? Because it means we've been looking at it and we think there is power inside. Trump has shown us that there's nothing. Just the same applies to African Union.
Exactly.
What is happening in South Africa? Hooligans is taking over.
Yes.
Congo here, this and this war, useless wars, and the entire Africa. And the African Union is quite like this. It shows you that actually inside that house, whatever they promise that they will do, it is nothing but a vacuum.
Exactly.
So Trump has actually shown the world that UN you see there.
Yes.
It's just a bunch of, I think, idle people seated there drinking some coffee. Continue.
So therefore, in a manner of speaking, the memorandum of understanding may not necessarily achieve much. Why do I say so? Israel entered this war bringing Trump on board, well knowing that so many leaders in the past had rejected this law. For close to 40 years, all the American presidents in that space period had rejected this law. Why? Because they knew that the repercussions were going to be much wider, deeper, and for a very long time. But Trump, being the Trump that he is, he entered it. And now, Trump having the business person in him, having realized that this is not taking him anywhere, he has lost popularity at home, he's losing globally. His allies, including the members of the NATO, the European members, have deserted him. They don't want to be party, including UK, that rejected the use of its base. So, and the Persian members themselves, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, all those Qatars, what have you, they have more or less abandoned him and told him, rather mutedly, but in very clear tones to the hearing of Trump that, look, we cannot keep along these lines because we seem to be losing our economies, and at the same time we seem to be losing our neighbors, and I think this is something which is unsustainable. So he had a rethink. He has had a rethink, including, by the way, which does not come out very clearly in the media, including even some commanders refusing to implement the orders of Trump on the battlefield, yes, like closing out the ships of China, and Trump gets some of these disturbing messages, and therefore, having gone into this memorandum of understanding was not so much because they have won. No, it was so much because they are at a point where they see that they are on a steady decline, they are losing all the set objectives of United States of America, and if they had one, anyway, if they had their own independent ones from Israel, because Israel, its objective is one: keep dominating in the entire Middle East, and make sure that you inherit any power that once or is dreamt or even suspected to be wanting to be on top of you. That is all. And if it means killing, because they are not fighting an existential war, and this, I have had this argument from some of my colleagues, that Israel is fighting an existential war. Existence, whose existence is being threatened? It is the existence of other members other than the Zionist state of Israel that is being threatened. So for me to conclude really on this, I would say that Trump entered this memorandum of understanding mainly because all the objectives he set or the aims he set in this war have not been achieved. he has just managed to achieve the short term, because they thought that they would create chaos in the streets of Tehran, but those upheavals, the unrest, were short-lived. The people realized that the enemy was even not the presidency, was even not the supreme leader, but it was the enemy was from outside. And they have regrouped, and they now support 190 million people in Iran. They support their leadership. And the nature of intelligence that they had gathered, the Mossad and the CIA thought that they had a monopoly over intelligence, not knowing, just to look at the precise missile launches that were done by the Republican Guard. Is it the Republican Guard or the military of Iran? All of them in the bases of America, they were hitting the target, including the American forces that would hide in certain hotels. They would hit that floor where the American forces were hiding. In other words, therefore, the intelligence led war of the Iranians was very precise. The argument that the Israeli Mossad managed along with CIA to take out the top leadership of Iran, and therefore they are the ones with the precise intelligence network and they can fight a war successfully, they don't preserve that monopoly. The truth of the matter is the strategy that was deployed by a combination of America and Israel was a short one, and they knew they would have achieved results just like they did achieve results in Caracas. But they found a different ball game in Iran, and therefore this memorandum, although I know of course that the tricky people that they are, they think that the Iranians are stupid and they can trick them into this memorandum and they will let down their guard. But I can assure you that they are not going to be able to let down their guard. The Iranians know the liars in the Americans, they know the liars in the Jewish state of Israel, the Zionists, and they are going to do everything humanly possible that if they are not going to see the realization, and even if there was peace, by the way, brought about by this memorandum for a period of 10 years, the Iranians are not stupid to imagine that therefore they would have arrived. They will keep suspecting them, and now, more than ever before, the fact that we have exposed the bubble that the Jewish state and the Americans are, the world is going to be a better place because we are going to have alternative voices to be listened to. Actually, conclusively now, if we have never realized that the multipolar world has taken root, if we have never realized that the multipolar world has become a reality in the war that we are experiencing in the Iranian on the Iranian territory and the entire Persian Gulf, I can assure you the concept of the multipolar world has been achieved.
Comrade Daniel Garama Karuchiko, thank you very much. I couldn't have done it better than you. Comrade Ambassador Hambula, what would be your submission on the same?
Chairman, thank you for your submission with such kind of precision. And as Kambula Melton, a global peace ambassador in the country, now at the helm of Leadership Without Borders structure, I am a board advisory member globally, internationally, but also a Ugandan representative. I must say that the objective of this war to United States and Israel was regime change. That was the precise objective to achieve, and the dates to achieve that was set. And the plan was quickly agreed by President Trump and his team. but with a warning from the United States military and those generals advising that United States, we are not ready. Senate said it clearly, we are not ready. Is it a positive, is it a good war for America to be involved in? NATO itself had to shy away and told President Trump, Mr. President, I think we need more time. This
America has just come from colonialism, I think,
yes, just a few years
ago.
Yes.
The civilization they were attacking is more than 6,000
years ago.
You are 250 years old.
Yes, yes.
Don't erase a civilization
yes,
old,
exactly.
More than 6,000 years.
Yes. With the deep-rooted culture. And that culture is what won the war. Actually, the Iranians did not win, actually has fought and defended this war, has defended itself from the dangers of this war using civilization. They didn't have a budget. You remember they were using drones. They would actually know what the Americans and the Israelis are planning, and they go in their small kitchens and plan small and, weaker defensive mechanisms, yet very effective at humbling the missile, humbling the huge investments in the military infrastructure. Yes. Now, that is number one. The war was about regime change. Never, that's why I love peace. Because with peace, it doesn't expose the bad side of you or the weak side of you. When you say, I'm sorry, when you say, let's go peace, let us dialogue, both of you win because the economy will thrive. Your young people have opportunity to open shops. And so somehow, this thing of loving war is not a good thing for America, and it has to stop. America should be seen as the mirror of peace in the world, as the chief negotiator of peace, as the chief mediator of conflict in developing countries. So right now, many countries do bad things and say, hey, Mr. Irumba, even America is doing it. So we are losing a whole form of leadership. Yet, those days, we would see America as the policeman of United States. He would put more money in the United Nations to support environmental protection, promoting human rights and rule of law. So this was an illegal attack on the people of Iran, and it is now evident that Iran does not have weapons of mass destruction. Iran does not have any nuclear or of sort that is mature to actually threaten world power. The threat would be North Korea, as my chairman has always been talking about it. That is my chairman, Dr. Hyunjin Preston-Moon. He's saying North Korea is the active threat to the world peace, and we need an alternative non-military strategy of reunification of North and South Korea through diplomatic and people-to-people interaction and dialogue to form a nation, one nation. But right now we think all wars should be won by nuclear. Lastly to this is Prime Minister Netanyahu, as a politician, of course your term is temporary, you will end your term very soon, but what is the legacy you are leaving the people of Israel? The Israelites are documented in the Bible. Do you truthfully or practically reflect the values that are reflected in the Bible that God loved the Israelites? I think they should be inspired to walk like their founding fathers, the Abraham of this world, the David, the Solomon, those the Israelites that they purport to be connected to as ancestry linkage. But what these people are doing is completely very different, that to the extent they want the distinction, the extinction, the erasing, the deletion of a people of their neighbor. And so Israel, I request please leave Lebanon. Lebanon is a country that has a right to live. It has a right to do trade with anybody, to work with anybody. So by kind of diplomatic relations, it supports Iran. Iran supports Lebanon. In whatever way, they have a right to trade and even have a defense exchange program as government to government. The same with China. China has been doing a lot of military integrated partnership with Russia. We have not stood up to say this is bad. Recently they made a joint parade, you know, to celebrate, I think, the independence of China, something like that. Actually, President Trump is annoyed. In the White House last week, he said it clearly. I want Netanyahu to respect this resolution.
America should not be complaining that Israel is not respecting the MOU so far, because Israel is learning from America, Comrade Milton Kambula. America has been disrespecting all world protocols. America is disrespecting the UN Charter. That's why they went and attacked Iran with Israel. That's why America went into the country called Venezuela and picked a sitting president.
Just in the whole history of the world, each country has gotten fake leaders now. And so our speaker of the Pan-African Pyramid, we should, part of what we must do is to promote good leadership education. We must go in our schools so that a country should never go thirsty and empty of leaders. That's why we have been invited, basically some of us, to be able to actually educate and share our views. How should the United States operate with Africa, with Asia, with Middle East? Now the conversation has started. I thank President Trump for having listened to some of the diplomats and some of our friends. Indeed, we learn through mistakes. But to say that you're a businessman, you are the richest, then they vote for you. Of course, the villagers will vote for you because you are rich. You can buy them. But leadership is beyond being a billionaire. And leadership involves the spirit. It involves God. God is the one is supposed to work under you, and for you, you become a vehicle. But some of these guys are warmongers. They have their personal problems with another one. The other one is not a friend. No. At the time a leader launches a missile on another country, that should be the last resort. It is now upon us, leaders here in the global south, to start organizing our countries for self-reliance, so that some time to come we are the ones determining world peace, because peace is no longer determined by the global north. We no longer want that. We can't trust them with what we have. We are more precise in terms of our minerals. We have what it takes to become more stable, and then they can depend on us. But this continued dependency on the global north, where they use their nuclear to actually determine in dialogue, they use them traps that I will not make them annoyed because they have a nuclear bomb. Man, that must stop. Africa must now unite. 54 nations, make one country and be the United States of Africa, and then calculate and engineer a type of nation you want to be, so that joining anything out there, it must be to our benefit.
Rugarama, yes. Do you see Israel respecting the MOU with Iran, with US and Israel? But secondly, I have seen Trump complaining that Israel is not respecting the MOU, and he's even said, I'm going to abandon you, they hit you alone, me, I'm not going to send you. Don't you think that Trump is actually testing his own bitter pill when Israel refuses to respect any MOU? Which one does Trump respect?
Well, first of all, note must be taken that just like United States of America, forget even about Trump. Trump is just learning from the very best. When has America ever respected any of the so-called international laws? Actually, I take exception. America has never been the engineer, or even the center of peace. America, right from the start, it was first of all created on the blood of the natives, because that country was occupied by the Native Americans, whom they derogatorily referred to as Red Indians. These rejects from Italy, the grandfathers of Madonna, the great-grandfathers of Trump from Germany, the great rascals, grandfathers of Bush from UK, who were being chased away for refusing to pay taxes. Others were lazy people, others were thieves. They just ran away, crossed the ocean, and they came into America. They exported their radicalism and very extreme poor behaviors. They exterminated the natives by referring to them as Red Indians, to the extent that even the remnants, the natives who are still there, are marginalized. They are just like the African Americans, whom they refer to as blacks. And then they declared such a stolen land, the land of the free, when in actual sense, free from who? You see? So at the end of the day, you don't expect the great-grandchildren of people of that type to do any better. And that is why now you find that all the wars which America has fought outside of its geographical boundaries, they are the ones who have exported them. They have created all centers of anything, including United Nations, having them in their land. They have created all manner of things, Permanent Security Council, which in a manner of speaking is the governing council of the entire world. Even there, they have got there is no war, for instance, that has ever been sanctioned by a UN resolution. I had my brother Milton talk about that. Nothing. They have nothing that the UN has ever said to. It is only the belligerence of United States of America or Russia to say, for us, we have taken a war here and they take it there. Even the division of Korea in 2-2, there was never a resolution. It is United States of America, because they had wanted to establish a checkpoint to the growth of the power of China, who established the South Korea, and they have installed their missile shield. They have created it as a satellite state. They even empowered it to make it the seventh largest economy, along with Malaysia and Singapore as centers, world global centers, simply because, and even established a military base in Japan. All that was designed and is still sustained, designed for purposes of creating and maintaining a hegemony called United States of America. Therefore, I can assure you, including that Israel you are talking about, the Zionist state of Israel was established there. You can imagine the argument that they have got their roots, and then we have got a problem with my brothers and sisters in Christianity, who mistake the deliberate mistakes of Israel, not even mistakes, deliberate actions of Israel as God-driven. That you see, these are God-chosen people, pray for them, and if you pray for them, you also be given rewards, internal rewards from the Almighty God. I can assure you, I am a Christian to the extent that I know what is wrong and right. Sense of discernment has given to me by God. And one of the things which the Bible tells me, and I also have issues where the Bible misleads, or maybe it is the issue of misinterpretation, I have the sense of discernment tells me that there is no way God can be such a confused man. No, God, the people cannot confuse God. God is absolutely very organized. First of all, he does not have a son who is called Jesus Christ in a manner and form that the white man projects him. If that son of his is there, I'm also a son of God. And I don't have to be white. So that Jesus they paint, and they say that he comes, he's a Jewish man. And therefore, if a Jewish person makes any mistake or creates deliberate actions, and we should respect that, no. To the extent that the Zionist Israel inherits the rest of the population, neighbors, and beyond, I am not a Christian. If that is the Christianity they are preaching, I am not a party. That one I want to make it very clear. There is no way I am going to be confused into the religion of a white man, which prescribes and supposes that I must respect what the Zionist man, a racist man, apicide-like person who cleanses the entire Gaza Strip, goes to West Bank and carves it and kills children born and unborn, and innocent women and men, that one is the person I should respect, who wants to exterminate and dominate everybody in the Persian Gulf, and he creates a nuclear bomb secretary, and then he goes and invites his big cousin from America and says, let's destroy this Iran and the other neighbors, and we call them the United Arab Emirates, what have you. Much as I do not support radicalism in Islam, no, I'm looking at humanity, and I don't care whether that human is a Buddhist, whether is a Muslim, whether is Christianity. The Christianity is not going to reconcile me to the Creator simply because I profess to be a Christian. No, the truth of the matter, therefore, is that what we are witnessing in the Iranian territory, first of all, the war between Iran and Iraq was created by the American. The purposes are well known, and I'm not going to discuss that now. The reason as to why, for instance, America was invited and it joined with Israel and they started bombarding up to now, Iran is also very well known. To create a hegemony. Iran has never wanted to become a hegemony. It is Israel which has always wanted to become a hegemony. All the scholars in the Middle East and elsewhere in the think tanks and the universities to deal with the study of the Persian, of the Gulf area, will tell you that the party that had always wanted to become a hegemony is Israel. Just like America has always wanted to, and for a very good number of years, by the way, it was a hegemony, until their unilateralism was checked by the growth of Russia and the growth of China now, and they never thought at any one time that Russia and China were going to become together. So the truth of the matter is, one, Comrade Irumba, I want you to hear me out. United States of America has never set out to be a peacemaker in the world. They have always wanted and still maintain to be the trouble causers, to be the dominant, the imperialistic, hegemonistic country, globally speaking, that they wanted to be the policeman. Only that they have realized a little bit too late that their desires and intentions of becoming a hegemony has been checked by other worthy powers that have also come up.
I want to just send my message to the leadership structure in South Africa. If you want to know that a country has leadership, is when its people unite against what would give it sustainable reputation and value in a region. Right now, the President Ramaphosa was in Uganda. But I want to say Mr. President Ramaphosa is then I'm addressing right now. After meeting President Museveni, you disrespected us by not responding to the messages you found in Uganda and in East Africa. You failed to organize a press conference even when we had organized journalists, and for you, you did not respond. You just met President Museveni, who gave you some of his cattle, and you flew back to South Africa. This is not the spirit of Africa, Pan-Africanism we talk about, that inspired President Nelson Mandela to go in jail, surrendered his life for the sake of you people. Can you imagine? The old Musei who could have died, but he was going to die for useless people that we see today. So that's why Ugandans must learn something. Are these people worth to die for? Or they are people just using you and then they dump you later? South Africa was a product of the blood from the whole African continent, to the extent that the United States had not even valued the struggle against apartheid. It is only FIFA of that time that removed South Africa to compete in the World Cup of that time. On the foundation that there was segregation against the black people to enjoy their own country. I salute FIFA, and that's why somehow, even when I kind of really love FIFA for that principle. The Pope that was in Rome had not yet come out clearly to tell the Catholic world that I think we should isolate the structure of those whites in South Africa who are beating up and mistreating the black people, the indigenous communities of South Africa. All religions had to shy away, yet they are spiritually mandated by Heavenly Father to bring human rights and dignity and equal treatment of humans. They kept quiet. That is the power of corruption. The biggest battle would be, how do we now take back the land? How do we as Africans take back the economy? How do we take back the industrial revolution of South Africa back in the hands of the black people? Right now you suffer 32% of it is called the unemployment rate is now 32. And all those are blacks. It is you, the blacks, who have no jobs. The white man is still controlling the economy by more than 60%. But they're still controlling land by 80%. When you go to the Air Force, these are all whites. So it is still the same mentality. And I believe, Speak, as I conclude, the apartheid regime is going to come back in South Africa. Give it 10 years from now. The black people in South Africa, the Africans, are lazy. They are not creative. They don't know how to craft a curriculum in education that can build an African mind, a new African civilization that can create jobs and innovations and lead a nation. It's in politics, okay, in politics. But South Africa has lost it after Nelson Mandela. They have gone back to those days. They have no skills. So it is still the white man that is still feeding them, and the rest of Africa, which actually consume their services like communication, MTN, the bank, Stanbic Bank. We have, is it KFC? No, I think no KFC. There are several companies in all of these African countries where we kind of consume your products, the game stores, the shops, all these things. But all these are industries not owned by black South Africans. They are still factories of the white man, the South African Boers, and people with the ancestry backbone of Europe. They are the ones actually benefiting from the 1.4 billion Africans on the continent. So the struggle continues, but now it is being threatened by the ignorance and the lack of ideological clarity of the black African in South Africa, to the extent that, how do you call your country South Africa? How? When the largest number of you people are indigenous, are you lacking even to call your country a name which is rooted in African branding? Their fathers.
Actually, they killed their great-grandfathers and occupied this land by force. Yes. And after taking it by force, they started now recruiting them as casual laborers on their farms, on their land of their ancestors. They started calling these black people, forcing them, giving them forced labor. So, look here, the person who is 8% in your country is in charge of 80% of your land. And now, 80%, I mean, the 8% who is in charge of the 80% of your land means that he's also in charge of the economy by 80%. Exactly. So it means your economy is in the hands of the white Boers 80%. Yes. After being in charge of the 80% of the economics, it means this same 8% is in charge of the politics of South Africa by 80%. Yes. Because he who has the means of production, yes, has the means of managing the politics of that country. Exactly. So it is the white Boers who occupy 80% of your land with the 80% means of production. And the one with the means of production has the means of coercing and managing the politics of the land.
Exactly.
So, your problem is the illegal immigrants. That is the problem of the South African now, the native South African. Let me ask you, if the 80% is in charge of your economics, is in charge of your land, that means it is that white man who is in control of the factories,
Yes.
who is in control of the industries, who is in control of the oil farms, gardens, everything, means of production. The one with the land is the one in charge of the means of production. Now, this white man, who has the factory, who has the industry, who has the companies, these multi-billion companies, game stores, ShopRite, name them, is the one in need of labor. Is the one in need, not you, the native South African. No, you have nothing to, you have no job.
Yes.
You have no industry.
Yes.
The one with the industry is uninterested of human labor. And he wants that human labor almost at low cost or at no cost at all.
Exactly.
No cost or at low cost.
Yes.
So, these illegal immigrants are coming into South Africa because the white man, the Boers, are the ones giving them the leeway to come. They are the ones actually preparing the paper on how to come.
Yes.
Why? They want cheap labor. This white Boers is the one who is using money to manipulate the systems
Yes.
of immigration, to manipulate the systems to enable the illegal immigrants to access South Africa using their white networks. Now, how are they manipulating? Because they are in charge of economics, because they are in charge of your systems, because they are the ones who pay the politicians and they manage them. Because President Ramaphosa is the president on top, but the conveyor below is the white man's conveyor. So you cannot fail the white man from bringing in illegal immigrants to work in his factory free of charge. Because you, Ramaphosa, the conveyor you are seated on, you're saying, I'm the president of South Africa, but the conveyor you seated on to say that is being put up by the white man. So instead of blaming the black man who has come in your country illegally by the white man using the system that you yourself put up, blame the white man who is manipulating your system to enable the black man from reaching South Africa illegally, and then after reaching there, they use him in their factory. The native South African is not educated.
Yes.
So the white man in South Africa knows that when I want skilled labor,
Yes, engineer.
I must go to Uganda, to Botswana, to Algeria, to Ghana, to Nigeria, and get them. But this system does not allow me from importing them. So I must manipulate the system to bring them. And when they bring them, now South African native is complaining, why are you here? I am not the problem. The problem is that you have failed to fix your country, the system. The system is not being, the system is being manipulated by the white man who wants free labor or cheap labor from the neighboring countries. So instead of you spearing, you want to spear your fellow black man who has come to South Africa to work almost for free or for less. No, go and fix this white man and the system.
And the government system.
The moment you fix that, this black man will not access your country. So the black man is not the problem in South Africa. The problem is that person, 8%, the white Boer, who are in charge of 80% of your land and the means of production. And because they want cheap labor, they go outside neighboring countries and get cheap labor.
And actually, they want us to fight each other.
That's the point.
As they sail their deal.
Comrade Irumba, just two things really. One, Comrade Julius Marema has helped us with the concept of illegal immigrants. There is nothing like an African man going around African continent that can be described as an illegal immigrant. We don't have that concept. That is a white man's concept, and it is only him or her when he comes from his continent and comes to run us down. That is an introduction by the white man also, because when they have fought a Zimbabwean, a Nigerian, they are now going to go and start looking at themselves either Xhosa or Zulu, and they will also fight. And at the end of the day, the white man is also interested in one other thing, of wanting to have shining examples fail. That if we can have a situation like that one of South Africa, which is fighting for the liberation of the people from the Gaza Strip, who are not by blood or any maybe DNA connected to the African, but at the same time they are failing to live with and among themselves. Therefore, they cannot provide any good example. That if we can have South Africa, which is the second largest economy after Nigeria, failing to lead by example, there is no way you can blame a white man who introduced apartheid. He should now, by virtue of what is happening, be actually invited warmly to come back and provide leadership, because we are incapable. Like Chinua wrote, the problem of Nigeria, if the problem of Africa is going to be leadership as exemplified in the concept of Afrophobia, then we are inadvertently inviting the white man to reintroduce direct colonialism.
Thank you so much, Comrade Daniel Garama Karuchiko, my elder here, and Comrade Ambassador, Peace Ambassador Milton Kambala.
Free your mind now. Be part of the People's Pan-African Parliament. The Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.